What's going on, Jerome? It's a beautiful day, and Alec Lewis of The Athletic just put out a 7-round mock draft for the Minnesota Vikings. Major respect for Alec Lewis since he came into the market, beat writer for the Vikes for a couple of years now. Love his insights, and not going to spoil the whole article and stuff. Just want to go over the picks, give our 2 cents, and it's a good time. So go check his mock out over at The Athletic. So there was a trade down, as Quasies want to do, but it's a good one in that at 24, I think outside of Kenneth Grant, there isn't a gotta-have-it player because there is such a thick band, THICC band of talent from about pick 20 to about pick 50 where you feel really good about things. So I think that, especially since the Vikings are coming in with 4 draft picks, if they can move down, get a little bit more nice, especially in the middle rounds, I think it'll be good. So this is what Al wrote about the trade. In 2022, the Bucks traded the 27th pick to the Jaguars for 33 and a 4th rounder and a 6th rounder. This Vikings mock features a similar trade, moving down from 24 to 29 and a deal with the Commies for a 4th and a 6th. So now the Vikings have 29 in the first round, a 3rd 97, a 4th rounder, 2 5ths, and a 6th. So you're going to be good to go there. And at 29, looky, here comes Hookie. Tyler Booker out of Alabama. Roll Tide. He's one of my favorite offensive line. Frankly, specifically for the Vikings, I think that he's offensive lineman number 1. I know from Mizzou, Menabu, etc., but you know that Booker can play guard. You're hoping that Menabu, who played right tackle exclusively, can kick inside the guard. You know that Booker is good at left guard. He is a set it and forget it, Pro Bowl caliber adjacent type talent that the Vikings can be good to go, right? And the fact that you get Booker at 29 and get some extra draft capital, nice, I like it. And I know people have been trading. I'm not trading it over for less than a third. Yeah, you're going to be waiting for a while. Yeah, but Booker, the 2 positions that make the most sense for Minnesota in the first round are interior defensive line and interior offensive line. You could argue for a cornerback or running back, but this Vikings team needs to put together a gnarlier group of players in the trenches. And of course, we've talked about Booker ad nauseum, and he's just rock solid, good to go, and great in all phases. Plus, I love that after Saban retired, that Booker didn't transfer. Like he rolled the Kalen DeBoer, learned a new offense, and learned some new wrinkles as well. And still consistent. 2 sacks allowed in his career at Alabama, 1.6% pressure rate during his time in Tuscaloosa. 2-time first-team All-American. Excuse me, 2-time first-time. Try again. 2-time first-team All-SEC, first-team All-American, 85.6 PFF pass blocking grade last year, which is good. Also, Mauler in the run game can block zone, outside zone, inside zone, man gap. He could do pretty much everything. It's not the sexiest pick in the world, but for me, it is. It absolutely is. And also, the fact that the Vikings have that extra draft picks now and it's an extremely deep defensive line group, the Vikings can take a couple pulls at it. It's going to be good. Next, 3rd rounder, Josh Farmer from Florida State. So with Fisk and Verse leaving to the NFL, I also love that Farmer, who was 44, took over Verse's number 5, and it was not a good year for Florida State. It just wasn't. Easy Thomas at corner is great. Josh Farmer, defensive tackle, is great, but the cupboard is kind of bare everywhere else, especially on offense, man. But Farmer, who had a great week of practice at the Senior Bowl, 6'2", 314, absolute wrecker of a 3-tech, 4-tech, 5-tech, wherever you want to put him. He can get his own pass rush. He's got that strength as well. And could you say that he's a little bit more like a bowling ball Jared Verse? I mean, maybe adjacently, but 26 pressures, 4 sacks as well, and he's a guy that's going to soup up that defensive line interior group just very quickly. Very, very quickly. I have no problem with Farmer at 97. Could go a little bit earlier. He could be like a mid to high day 2 pick, but if you get him at 97, you're more than happy. Next up, Vikings partake of the running back class, Trevor Etienne. Yes, younger brother of Travis Etienne. Originally at Florida, transferred to Georgia. Walked that Florida-Georgia line. Now, Trevor Etienne is not going to be a 3-down back. He's not going to be your lead dog back, but I think that he certainly could be a fun supplementary back in a timeshare in the backfield. And he's 5'8", he's 202, career 5.6 yards per carry, career 62 catches, 432 yards, and a touchdown as a receiver. Does need to work on pass protection a little bit more, but that's always going to be kind of tough for him, given his size, but he's got great vision. He's shifty, and every time I was watching him last year, I was trying to figure out who he reminded me of, and it's kind of like a souped-up J.J. Taylor from Arizona. a guy that I liked a lot and sort of bounced around the league. Patriots. I think he's a UDFA with the Patriots, and then I think he ended up at Cleveland or something like that. But does Etienne add value to the running back room? Yes. Is he going to be the guy, a chance to be a true bell cow back? No. But I think he's going to test pretty damn good at the combine. I think that's certainly going to help his cause. Like he's not like a straight speedster like Devin Achane, but he does bring some shades adjacent to that. And I think that he could be a lot of fun in the Vikings backfield, especially catching the ball out there too. Into the 5th round. So as Brian Flores said, you could never have enough corners. And the Vikings, ideally, they'd like to shade more towards man. They had to play a lot of zone last year because of constraints, but Noel Williams, cornerback from Cal, I like a lot. So 6'1", 200, consensus All-American this year. Initially was at UNLV and then transferred to Cal. I feel like in this new college football landscape, if a player comes into the draft and they haven't gone to at least 2 schools, it's weird. It is an anomaly. Also, Vikings pretty good with Cal cornerbacks with Cam Beasley behind him. I don't know, maybe Noel Williams will move to safety. Who knows? But led the FBS in interceptions last year with 7, 78.2 PFF coverage grade, long press man skill set, does have the ball skills as well. Doesn't bring a lot in terms of bringing the lumber in terms of run defense, but it's certainly something that you're going to have to balance out. Does have sort of tight hips as well. That's why he's seen as a day 3 project versus a day 1, day 2 type guy, given that ball production. But something you can certainly work through, and definitely not a bad depth piece to the cornerback room. But also, the fact that he's not so much about that tackling life does limit his upside as a special teamer. So we'll see. Also in the 5th round, Clay Webb, guard from Jacksonville State. Again, another player who had multiple schools. Initially was at Georgia. But I mean, Webb is talented, but the interior with Fairchild and Ratledge and Wilson, I understand. Like, it's tough. But he transferred to Jacksonville State, 3-year starter for the Gamecocks, 6'3", 310, dominant. Now, you could say level of competition, yes, but technically he's refined, technically strong. I think that he could slide inside to center at the National Football League level. Only 7 pressures and 1 sack allowed last year. Certainly a really nice project to pick up in the 5th round. Lastly, Theo Weiss Jr., wide receiver out of Oklahoma/Mizzou. Again, multiple schools. He was a running mate to LB3 for the Tigers. 6'2", 210, 60 catches, 884 yards receiving, 4 touchdowns last year. Crisp route runner. Not overly fast, not overly physical, but also someone who could sit down in a zone, just a real technician at the position. And I think the Vikings certainly could find a spot for him. I think that he could contribute on special teams and then work his way up from practice squad wide receiver 5'6", then go from there. And I understand, it's great that the Vikings hammered the offensive line, as well as picked up if not a starter, a high-end defensive line piece in Farmer. And with Etienne, again, I like him more as an add-on item. Definitely could have gone a different direction at running back in the mid-rounds, and then on to day 3. There's going to be some dudes. And even UDFAs. There's going to be so many damn good running backs that probably should have been drafted. Noel Williams, I like as a long-term project on the outside. The press man skills, the ball skill production certainly can't be sneezed at. And then you got Clay Webb. Definitely has some upside there. Would preferred if they would take another swipe at a defensive tackle, but like we said, it is what it is. And Weiss ain't bad as the Vikings look to replenish some of that wide receiver depth. You do have Addison facing a suspension. This is the final year of Jalen Naylor's rookie deal, so fully understand that. But trading back and still getting Booker, you son of a B, I'm in. That got me right there. But that's it. Take a look at Alec Lewis of the Athletics mock draft. Daddy likes. Let us know your thoughts, our thoughts, comment section. You guys are the best to do. Skull production value.